Fortune favors the bold, not the hesitant. This is not mere poetry, but a law as true and ancient as time itself. The world does not bow to the cautious man, nor does it crown the thinker who waits too long to act. While he hesitates, while he debates, while he seeks assurance in the shadows of his uncertainty, the throne is seized by another, one who moves with audacity, one who strikes when others still measure. The river of opportunity is not gentle, it does not wait. It flows wildly, often flooding without warning, and the man who would master it must plunge into its depths with iron resolve. In the affairs of power, hesitation is the seed of downfall. The cautious are consumed by the very dangers they sought to avoid. They imagine that by waiting, they become wise. They imagine that time will give them clarity. But they forget that time belongs to the one who acts, not to the one who dreams. The hesitant man is a slave to circumstance. He reacts but never initiates. He responds but never leads. He believes himself prudent, but prudence divorced from courage becomes cowardice dressed in noble clothes. The bold man, however, reshapes the terrain before him. He does not beg the winds to favor him, he becomes the wind. He understands that fortune, that wild and unpredictable mistress, is drawn to movement. She is seduced by dominance, not by deliberation. She watches the battlefield of life and lends her favor not to the most just, nor to the most kind, but to the one who takes the most risk with the most precision. Fortune, like any force of chaos, is impressed only by power. And what is boldness, if not the expression of power in action? It is the willingness to face uncertainty with conviction. It is the refusal to surrender one's future to the cautious whispers of the crowd. It is an assertion of will against the unknown. The bold do not wait for permission. They create conditions rather than become their victims. They understand that even failure is better than paralysis, for failure teaches, while hesitation weakens. Boldness does not always come from strength of arms or volume of voice. It comes from clarity, from the ability to decide when others are still gathering opinions. The bold see the hour as it truly is and move. In their movement, they bend time. In their decision, they steal momentum. Their competitors are left behind, stumbling in the dust of delay. And once they rise, their presence becomes self-fulfilling. Others follow, not because the path is proven, but because boldness creates belief. Men of history who etched their names in stone were rarely the most thoughtful, but always the most daring. While scholars debated ethics and philosophies, the bold mounted their horses, crossed rivers, toppled regimes, and shaped nations. Their triumph was not accidental. It was forged in risk, sharpened by speed, and wielded with unapologetic confidence. In the eyes of the bold, the world is not something to be navigated. It is something to be taken. Even in the quiet corridors of commerce, of politics, or influence, it is boldness that turns vision into empire. The market of ideas, like the battlefield, rewards those who dare to launch, to challenge, to rise. There are no statues for the hesitant. There are no songs sung for those who almost moved. The altar of history is crowded with the bones of the careful. One may say boldness invites danger. That is true. But danger is inevitable. Whether one walks or runs, it waits. The only difference is this: the bold man meets it on his terms. He defines the engagement. He chooses the ground. And if he fails, at least he does so with his eyes forward, his hands armed, and his name remembered. Hesitation is a slow poison. It is a comfortable grave. It allows one to avoid blame, but also to forfeit glory. And there is no glory without risk. Boldness is the price of greatness, the toll one must pay to cross the bridge of mediocrity into the realm of power. To wait is to concede. To move is to declare war upon the ordinary. Vert is the mastery over fortune. It is not mere courage, nor is it simple strength. It is a cultivated force, a disciplined, ruthless intelligence married to unflinching will. It is not born, it is forged. While fortune sways with chaos, Vert is that rare power which imposes order upon the storm. It does not beg for luck, it does not seek favor, and it does not rely on divine intervention. Vert takes what is not offered. It seizes, shapes, and dominates the forces that others fear. The man of Vert does not merely react to the turns of fortune, he anticipates them. He studies the patterns beneath her madness. While others curse the wind, he learns to sail it. He prepares while the world sleeps. He sharpens his tools in the dark, long before the sun rises. Fortune is wild and erratic, but she becomes predictable to the man who watches long enough and who trains his instincts to act with precision when she moves. Vert, in this way, is not just a quality, it is a weapon. This weapon is not given. It is earned through trial, through blood, through failure transformed into wisdom. It is carved from 1,000 decisions made under pressure, each one adding to the total weight of character that allows a man to bend fortune instead of being bent by it. It is endurance when others break, foresight when others dream, and action when others doubt. The man of Vert does not wait for the perfect hour. He creates it. He acts as if fortune is his servant, not his mistress. And in doing so, she becomes just that. While fortune may offer opportunity to many, she rewards only those who are ready to strike without hesitation. Vert is that readiness. It is the internal power that turns possibility into result. The weak man stands in front of the same door of opportunity and fails to enter. He says the time is not right. He says the signs are unclear. But the man of Vert walks through, even if the door must be broken. He does not ask permission. He understands that opportunity does not arrive with a trumpet call, nor does it wait for the hesitant. It is fleeting, and it is blind. But Vert sees. To master fortune is to anticipate chaos. The river may rise. The ground may shake. The tide may turn. But these are not surprises to the man of Vert. He has considered them already. He has imagined every reversal, every betrayal, every failed alliance. He does not weep when he is betrayed. He does not crumble when he is opposed. He moves as if these things are normal, because to him they are. Vert is the armor that turns wounds into warnings and loss into leverage. Vert is also the ability to be many things, to wear masks and to remove them at will. It is the understanding that men are not always ruled by justice, but often by fear, envy, and greed. The one who masters fortune must know the laws of men, but understand when to ignore them. He must present the appearance of mercy, while wielding severity. He must seem loyal, while always prepared to act in his own interest. Vert allows a man to shift his nature like a general shifts his troops, strategically, without sentimentality, always toward victory. Many are broken by power when they receive it, because they thought the challenge was to gain it. But the true test lies in keeping it, in wielding it. This is where Vert reveals itself most fully, not just in the rise, but in the rule. In the calm after the conquest, when the dust settles and enemies become courtiers, it is Vert that maintains control. It sees betrayal before it happens. It suppresses revolt before it rises. It understands that fortune smiles not once, but must be made to smile again and again through force, cunning, and relentless vigilance. Where fortune spins like a wheel, Vert is the hand that grips the axle. Where others fall from the turning, the man of Vert holds fast, not because the world stops moving, but because he has learned to move with it. Not as a leaf on the wind, but as a captain steering the storm. Stability is an illusion crafted by those who fear change and worship comfort. It is the lie repeated often enough to convince the masses that the world will remain as it is, that power is permanent, and that structures will hold. But beneath the surface of every so-called stable order lies chaos waiting for its hour. What men call stability is simply the temporary pause between upheavals. The world is not fixed, it is in constant motion. Thrones are borrowed, not inherited. Empires are loans from time, not gifts from eternity. The wise do not trust in the permanence of their position. They understand that every rise contains the seeds of a fall, and every moment of calm is but the breath before the storm. Those who believe they have secured their place are already weakening, because they have mistaken pause for permanence. They grow fat on certainty, lazy in comfort, blind in luxury. They forget that history devours those who sleep too long in the illusion of safety. The castle that stands for 100 years can fall in one night. The leader who is praised in the morning may be betrayed by dusk. Stability is only the silence before the betrayal is whispered, before the walls crack, before the dagger is drawn. In politics, in war, in commerce, nothing holds forever. Allies shift their loyalties. Enemies become partners. Fortunes rise and fall faster than they can be counted. The man who assumes that the terrain under his feet is solid will be swallowed when it opens beneath him. The clever do not assume stability. They create systems of control that adapt to instability. They prepare for change not as a possibility, but as a certainty. It is not paranoia, it is clarity. To expect chaos is to see clearly. To expect order is to live in delusion. Even within a man's own circle, stability cannot be trusted. Loyalty is conditional. It is not eternal. It depends on fear, reward, admiration, and opportunity. Remove any of these, and loyalty decays like fruit left too long in the sun. A ruler who believes his court will stand with him forever is already alone. A commander who thinks his soldiers will never waver has not seen the hunger in their eyes when the pay is delayed. Stability among men is merely the current arrangement of interests. Change their interests, and the arrangement collapses. What appears stable only remains so because force, fear, or fascination hold it together. The moment those forces weaken, the structure trembles. A ruler holds power not because his rule is loved, but because it is useful. The moment it becomes a burden, it is discarded. A merchant thrives not because the market is fair, but because he exploits its waves. A general commands not because his men are loyal, but because they fear the enemy more than they resent him. Strip these conditions away, and the illusion of stability dissolves like smoke. Power is never still. It shifts hands through maneuver, not merit. It rewards those who move quickly, not those who rest on titles. The man who believes he has secured his place has already lost it to someone hungrier. For every throne, there are 10 unseen hands reaching toward it. For every structure, there are 100 cracks forming beneath. The city that appears peaceful may burn tomorrow. The people who cheer today may riot by the end of the week. What is steady now can be undone by one event, one betrayal, one misstep. Even nature mirrors this truth. The mountains erode, the rivers change course, the skies unleash storms with no warning. And yet man believes his systems will hold, that his governments, his wealth, his order will remain untouched. Only a fool would rest on that assumption. The wise man prepares not for peace, but for the moment peace ends. He builds not just for today, but for the collapse that must eventually come. He does not grow sentimental about the structures around him, because he knows they are temporary. They serve him for now, and when they fall, he will not fall with them. Those who flourish understand the rhythm of impermanence. They do not mourn the end of an order, they exploit it. When others cry out in fear, they act. When systems crumble, they do not seek to repair them, but to replace them. They have no loyalty to the illusion of stability. They are loyal only to power, and power does not rest. It migrates. It flees from those who trust it, and lands in the hands of those who pursue it relentlessly. Adapt or be conquered. This is not a choice, but a command written into the very structure of existence. The world does not slow down for the inflexible, nor does it show mercy to the stubborn. To survive is to change, and to rule is to change faster than the world around you. Those who cling to old ways, outdated values, or dying systems are not loyal. They are suicidal. History does not remember them with sympathy. It forgets them altogether. The man who refuses to adapt is the man who prepares his own funeral, for in a world that shifts with every hour, rigidity is a form of death. Power belongs not to the strongest, but to the most responsive. The battlefield shifts, the weapons evolve. The alliances fracture and reform. The climate of rule is never still, and those who assume they can govern with the same tools, the same speeches, and the same strategies they used yesterday will wake up surrounded by enemies who have outmaneuvered them. Tradition is a trap when it becomes an excuse to avoid transformation. The past offers lessons, not blueprints. Those who worship it become monuments, silent, unmoving, irrelevant. Even virtue itself must adapt. What is seen as strength in one era may be viewed as tyranny in another. What once inspired loyalty may now provoke rebellion. The wise man senses this before the crowd does. He shifts his posture, adjusts his language, changes his mask. Adaptation is not weakness, it is strategy. It is knowing when to appear merciful and when to be feared. It is the art of sensing the moment before it arrives, and meeting it not with nostalgia, but with precision. There is no honor in consistency, if that consistency leads to defeat. Look to those who have held power the longest. Not those who seized it briefly and burned out, but those who endured. You will not find men obsessed with purity or permanence. You will find men who changed as the tide did. Men who were lion and fox, shadow and flame. Storm and silence depending on what the moment demanded. They abandoned what no longer served them without apology. They wore new ideologies like armor and cast them aside when they grew heavy. They understood that the only law that lasts is movement. Those who cannot adapt become food for those who can. This is true in politics, in commerce, in conquest. The merchant who ignores the rise of new trade routes dies in obscurity. The prince who fails to read the shifting desires of his people is devoured by revolt. The general who wages yesterday's war with yesterday's strategy loses not only the battle, but the loyalty of his troops. Adaptation is not just an advantage, it is survival. It is the line that divides those who endure from those who vanish without trace. Adaptation does not require that one love change. It requires that one master it. The skilled player does not complain that the game has changed. He learns the new rules faster than his opponent. He studies them, manipulates them, bends them to his will. While others resist, he thrives. He knows that resistance to change is the first crack in any foundation, the first sign of a mind growing slow and vulnerable. And once the first crack appears, the collapse is only a matter of time. Even alliances are subject to change. Today's friend may become tomorrow's obstacle. The man of power does not cry over such shifts. He anticipates them. He allows no sentiment to trap him. He understands that loyalty must serve strategy, not the other way around. He alters his tone, his circle, his tactics as needed, not because he is false, but because he is alive. To adapt is to live. To stagnate is to submit. In every corner of life the same principle applies. Nature adapts or dies. Kingdoms adapt or fall. Ideas adapt or fade into silence. The man who rules must be the quickest to shed his old skin, to abandon methods that no longer deliver results. He must not wait for the world to prove him wrong. He must see the signs before the storm. The path of conquest does not reward the righteous or the nostalgic. It rewards the adaptable. Those who move first when the winds change. Those who are many things over time, but always one thing in essence, dominant. Fortune is a test of preparedness, not a blessing given at random. To the fool, fortune appears as luck, an unpredictable force that lifts some and abandons others without logic. But to the discerning, fortune is nothing more than the stage upon which preparation proves itself worthy or reveals itself as illusion. When she arrives, she does not bring opportunity alone, she brings exposure. She uncovers the strength or weakness a man has built in silence. She offers her favor only to those who are ready to seize it without hesitation, without confusion, without need for deliberation. The unprepared man meets fortune with awe and fear. He does not recognize her, for he has not been watching. He stares at the door she opens and wonders if he deserves to pass through it. He looks to others, seeks approval, waits for signs. And in that pause, the moment vanishes. Fortune does not repeat herself. She does not circle back for the hesitant. She is swift and cold. She knocks once, and those who are unready will forever remember the sound, but never again hear it. Preparation is the silent work done when no one is watching. It is the sharpening of thought, the training of instinct, the building of strength in the dark. It is repetition, discipline, endurance. The man who is prepared is not surprised when fortune arrives. He has been expecting her. He greets her not with disbelief, but with execution. He does not need to learn how to wield the sword once the enemy appears. He has already mastered its weight. He does not draft a plan when the window opens. His plan has long been in place, waiting. Fortune does not create opportunity, she reveals it, and only the prepared know how to turn revelation into dominion. A throne may suddenly be empty, but only the man with influence, force, and vision can sit upon it and hold it. A market may open, but only the one who has studied the currents, secured the capital, and built the connections will profit. The rest watch, marvel, and wonder why the moment passed them by. They blame luck, fate, or injustice, never realizing that they failed long before the moment arrived. Their defeat was in their delay. The illusion many hold is that fortune is fair. But she is not. She is ruthless. She favors not the good nor the wise, but the ready. She respects force, not morality. To those who wait for her with empty hands and hopeful eyes, she offers nothing. But to the man who greets her with readiness and resolve, she yields power. Fortune does not test a man's desires. She tests his discipline. She asks not, "What do you want?" but, "What have you built in silence that no one has yet seen?" There is no neutrality when fortune comes. Her presence demands response. She offers no time to gather thoughts, to build courage, to collect consensus. The prepared move, and in moving they win. The rest become spectators, their excuses as worthless as their regrets. The lesson is simple and cruel. When fortune knocks, the door must already be unbolted, the army must already be gathered, the will must already be hardened. Only then does she serve. Otherwise, she passes by. Even in loss, the prepared gain. For when fortune brings failure instead of triumph, they still extract knowledge. They observe, record, and adjust. Their preparation absorbs defeat and transforms it into fuel. They do not curse fortune for turning her face. They prepare more deeply. They understand that her tests are endless, her mood always shifting, but their power grows with each encounter. They are not slaves to her whims. They are competitors. They treat her not as a goddess to be worshipped, but as a tempest to be studied and mastered. Fortune belongs to no man. She answers to none. But she yields, again and again, to those whose readiness is relentless. Those who do not wait to be chosen. Those who do not trust in timing, but make themselves inevitable. When the moment comes, the prepared do not rise to the occasion. They rise because they are already above it. Appearances are a weapon, not a mask for the timid, but a blade for the cunning. What a man seems to be is often more powerful than what he is, because men do not deal in truth. They deal in perception. Power is not simply held, it is projected. The lion does not need to roar if the sight of him causes others to bow. A ruler need not be just, only appear just. A commander need not be loved, only appear invincible. The illusion is stronger than the reality, because the illusion moves minds before reality ever enters the room. Men are governed not by facts, but by impressions. They see what they expect, and they submit to what they fear. To master appearances is to master the battlefield before a single blow is struck. The one who understands this does not waste time trying to convince others of his goodness, his worth, his vision. He constructs the image that serves his purpose and lets it speak for him. He is feared before he is tested. He is obeyed before he gives reason. Such is the force of cultivated perception. It commands without proof. The knave believe that truth will defend them, that their real qualities will emerge in time. But time is a luxury the powerful cannot afford. Appear weak, and your enemies will strike before they discover your strength. Appear kind, and the ambitious will circle you like wolves. Appear uncertain, and even your allies will begin to doubt. In the arena of influence, vulnerability is not an invitation to compassion. It is an invitation to conquest. Therefore, appearances must be chosen as carefully as armor, worn not for beauty, but for survival. To wear the right appearance is to shape the behavior of others before they choose it for themselves. A man who appears decisive causes hesitation in others. A ruler who appears generous silences the grumblings of rebellion. A leader who appears indifferent to flattery invites fear rather than manipulation. The wise know that what they show is a signal, and every signal is a form of control. The crowd does not follow truth. It follows confidence, spectacle, and symbols. It follows the figure who plays the part best, not the one who speaks most sincerely. But the weapon of appearance is not only used defensively. It is used to deceive, divide, and dominate. To appear strong when weak buys time. To appear ignorant when wise draws the enemy into arrogance. To appear open while plotting in silence leads others to underestimate, misstep, and expose themselves. The art is in balance to project just enough to mislead, but not so much as to become unbelievable. Excess destroys believability. Subtlety secures trust. The master of appearances understands that suggestion is stronger than declaration. He allows others to believe they see truth, when they are only seeing what he has designed. Even virtue must be masked when necessary. Appear merciful while delivering punishment. Appear humble while consolidating control. Appear loyal while preparing for betrayal. The appearance creates the space in which action becomes possible. Men drop their guard before what seems harmless. They confess before what seems compassionate. They relax before what seems weak. And then they are struck. Appearances are the invitation that draws the enemy close enough to be crushed. They are not decoration. They are strategy. The downfall of many is their honesty. They show too much, too soon. They wear their hearts on their sleeves, and then wonder why they are wounded. Power is not held by those who expose themselves. It is held by those who conceal their intentions beneath crafted surfaces. The smiling face can hide the dagger. The generous act can mask the trap. The calm demeanor can disguise the war being planned. Those who rule understand that visibility is vulnerability. What is seen can be targeted. What is unknown cannot be opposed. To master appearances is not to lie. It is to rule perception, and therefore rule reality. For perception governs response, and response shapes action. The one who chooses his image chooses the behavior of others. He bends their expectations, their fears, their hopes, to serve his design. He makes himself what they need to see, and then becomes what they never saw coming. Appearances are the beginning of influence and the end of resistance. Those who disregard them are not brave. They are already defeated.